and welcome back to Book Break. We have been reading some really great books this year, and so we've decided to curate a list of our favourite book of every single month of the year and share our recommendations with you. That's about it really. We may as well get started and get into this because we've got a lot of books to get through.
In January, The Science of Racism came out by Keon West, which is stuffed full of actual scientific facts that prove the existence of racism. Because one of the most extraordinary things that I learned from Keon West is that about 50% of the population actually don't believe that racism is real, which is phenomenal to me. But anybody who reads this book will have their mind changed on that.
In January, I read Modern Divination by Issa Agajani, and I love this book. It's a dark academia, slow burnt book with witches, which is just my favourite novel to read about. I love it so much. And all of the characters in this kind of have this like morally grey sense about them, but they're not really, but they kind of are. And there's a lot of push and pull and tension and angst. I just loved it. And the sequel comes out in the next January, so it's very soon.
In January, I read and loved Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. This is a historical horror that follows unwed pregnant girls as they are put into a home, as was done in the 70s, and they find a witchcraft book, and from there things start to happen.
In February, I read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This really solidified B.K. Borison as one of my favourite authors. It's such a fun, adorable and tender romance. We follow Lucy, who is a single mother, and one night her child calls into a radio station and the grumpy host of that radio station is kind of like, there is a child on the end of this line. And obviously Lucy rushes to the phone, she takes it off her child, and ends up speaking to said grumpy radio host. And from there you get to see a little bit of their story and how they may or may not fall in love. And it's very much inspired by Sleepless in Seattle, which is one of the best rom-coms. But this feels more like a love letter to it as opposed to like a retelling of it. It's fantastic. And Now Back to You comes out in February 2026. Thank you. Is it February?
It is.
It is February.
I love how much Caroline was just nodding along to all of that, because that was also her favourite book.
I'm
Maybe of
literally
all time.
wearing a BK Morrison jumper right now.
And we also have the Wonderful Works edition here, which has the gorgeous foiling and braid edges.
In February, I read and started the Amazing series by Helen Shura, and I read the whole series to get used to hearing her name throughout this video. Iron and Embers is part of the Ashes of Tesmar, which has just come out and is on the back of The Legend of Tesmar, which starts with Blood and Steel. In this series, we follow Ren and Torge as they fall in love in a forbidden romance, little dark academia, a lot of fighting, a lot of alchemy, a lot of all of the good things that happen in romantasy. Absolutely adore this series.
I picked two for February because I couldn't choose, and they're very, very different, so I wanted to mention both of them. These are both books that came out in paperback in February. So The Women by Kristen Hanna is a historical kind of sweeping story. It's about the women who went to Vietnam as doctors and nurses, and how their stories are kind of completely erased from any history that we learn about Vietnam, and also about how they were treated when they came back to the US, kind of expecting to be treated as heroes, but were basically their whole experience there erased and ignored. It's also a love story, and it's also a lot about female friendship, so it's a really moving, powerful story. And then something very, very different but incredibly powerful, James by Percival Everett. This was up for the Booker Prize last year and it's now out in paperback. So this is a kind of reimagining of Huckleberry Finn, but it's retold from the perspective of the character James, so Jim in the original story, who is the enslaved character, who a lot of his story in the original happens off page. So in this, Percival Everett is kind of correcting that in a way, so goes back and tells the story from his perspective. And it's very, very clever, because as Percival Everett often does, he sort of plays with form. So just like the original, it's told like a children's adventure story, but the content of the book is pretty horrifying, and that's quite a powerful sort of juxtaposition.
In March, I read The Friendzone Experiment by Zen Shou. I absolutely loved Crazy Rich Asians. Have you guys seen the movie?
Great film.
So this is really reminiscent of it, and it really has that funny Southeast Asian families, and also it brings in some fashion. I just think it all blends together so well. I loved it.
I'm gonna give it a read.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. In April, I read Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. This is Succession, except it has magic in it. And we are following 3 siblings whose father has just died. Kind of, half of the siblings think it's very expected, and the other sibling is kind of like, what are you on about? He was an old man, he was gonna die anyway. Has quite a cynical outlook on life. And the 3 siblings are now competing for their father's company because this is a $1 billion tech company. And each of them believes they have a stake in it. And of course, it must only go to one person. So as they're having this interesting family dynamic, there are things going on in the background with this magic that they are trying to figure out as well, and it's a good page turner and something to really sink your teeth into. And we actually have this special edition of it, which is the international exclusive sprayed edge, available on TikTok shop if you are interested, but only if you're in the UK.
Remember when we did a YouTube video finding out which one of us was the most gifted and talented?
Yeah, that was a time ago. That was crazy.
In the end.
It was me.
Caroline.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go and watch that video. Days will link it below. It involves Days doing forward rolls while rapping Hamilton.
I forgot about that. That did happen.
Wow.
Keep a dream.
In April, I read the incredible The Eyes of Gaza by Plestia Alakad. This is her journal entries from October 7th, 2023 up until, I believe, October 7th, 2024, and it just recalls everything that's happened to her and all of her thoughts and feelings and everything that's happening during the genocide in Palestine. In May was actually the book that I've read the most in my life.
Oh my god.
I think I've read it maybe like 56 times by now.
A real page turner.
Honestly, and that was Let's Meet Harry. This is actually a picture book that just is a biography of Harry Styles, and I don't know if you know this about me, but I kind of like him.
And the illustrations are really cute too.
The
They actually are
illustrations
great.
adorable.
I love it.
Yeah.
In May, I read the second book to Cross the Line by Simone Sultani. This is Ride With Me. This follows a marriage of, like an accidental marriage of convenience, but it's very inconvenient for them for a little bit. Stella owns a bakery and Thomas is an F1 driver. So you've got this real interesting relationship between the two where he's like off doing the Grand Prix and she's just like, well, whatever, I don't really care, have fun in your cars. And the two of them realize that actually they both can offer each other something that they both need to help with their image, their reputation and career. So they do end up continuing this marriage of convenience, and it's actually a really lovely story because you get to see them like fall in love with one another even though they're already married, and I just really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited for the third one to come out.
You know, one of my favorite thing about this book is how Stella will just be like, yeah, you should just go drive your little cars, you know, what are you, like, just riding a bike?
She's such a rage baiter, and he always like goes for, he like bites all the time.
I love their relationship.
Yeah, they have a really good push and pull.
In June, I read Thirst Trap by Grania O'Hara, which was such a lovely book. So this is a kind of Sally Rooney-esque book. It's about girlhood, it's about friendships, it's about that time of your life in your early 20s where you're living with your friends and all of the ups and downs that come with it. The book has kind of dark undertones, so it's a friendship group of 4 girls, but the book takes place after the death of one of them. So we're following the other 3 in the aftermath of this as they navigate their grief and also come to terms with some of the cracks that had already been appearing in their friendship before.
I thought it was great. I enjoyed it too. I thought it was really fun, and what I found most interesting was some of the stuff that comes up, I actually was really shocked by it happening. I was like, no way. It felt like I was reading like a soap opera drama.
It was a bit like that. Yeah, actually Days read it first and she loved it so much she told me to read it.
Yeah.
I think she told everyone to read it.
Yeah, I told everyone to read it because it was great.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
And then in June, I picked up V.E. Schwab's brand new novel, Burial Bones in the Midnight Soil. This is about toxic lesbian vampires. We have 3 women who we are following from kind of the 1500s, then one in a different time period and one in our modern day, like 2019. As we follow the first vampire, the 1500s vampire, we see her change as she becomes kind of less human and how that affects the other 2 women. And all of them are just not good people. You literally read it and you're like, oh my god, you're terrible, but I can't take my eyes off it. The writing is super lyrical, it's very poetic and very like engaging as well. I loved it.
Yeah.
Emma read it too. Emma loved it.
I loved it. I was outside my genre comfort zone and I adored it.
It was great.
They're toxic.
Yeah, they actually
People
are
toxic. And it was
even
a
when the
lot
book
of fun.
finished, I was like, oh, you're not nice.
Yeah.
You're not
But
good.
in a way, because you get so much of their backstory, however toxic they are, you're still kind of rooting for them. You're still like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get what made you you.
I
It was
would
a lot of
say
fun.
they're not like evil, they're just kind of villainous.
Yeah.
But like,
One of them's
you
kind of
understand why.
evil.
One of them is kind of evil, but like, it's fine. She's been alive for
very
a long
curious.
time.
I didn't go to my evil era, but there are evil people in this book. I read Nightshade by Autumn Woods, and this book might be in my top 3 books of the year.
I think it's in mine.
Yeah,
it
for
has
sure.
to be.
I've read this twice already. I absolutely adore it. This is a dark academia romance. It's all set in a university in Scotland. Imagine the most grey and rainy and just British university where the sun doesn't shine, and the most evil things happen. And Ophelia, our female main character, only goes there because she wants to find out what has happened to her parents. And unfortunately for her, she meets someone pretty much straight away who doesn't necessarily have a part in it, but also doesn't necessarily not have a part in it. And this is a book 1. It does have a cliffhanger, and I am absolutely dying to hear the rest of it.
And the cliffhanger genuinely will make you want to throw yourself at a brick wall and just be like, rah!
And also, we haven't even mentioned Alex and
Oh
his
my
rugby
god!
ties.
This 6'3" rugby player with his tattoos and his floppy hair and he's got green eyes.
Green eyes. Yeah.
That's all I want in a man. That's all you want in a
Honestly,
man.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
perfect. In July, in the heat of summer, I had to continue and read another romance. So I read I'll Look For You Everywhere by Cameron Capello. Look at this gorgeous paperback cover that they have done for it. I love the subtle Italian flag on there because it all happens in Italy. And what more does someone want than to spend the summer in Italy?
With a summer fling.
Right? Exactly. This is a brother's best friend forbidden romance. And yeah, this one is just full of yearning and steamy, and it just makes you want to go on the next flight to Italy. So,
I'm there.
bye.
In July, the paperback of The Songbird and the Heart of Stone came out. This is Carissa Broadbent's new duology, and it's now completed, with the first one being The Songbird and the Heart of Stone and the second one being The Forward and the Kiss of Dusk. And all of the events of this book follow on from the Crowns of Neaxia first and second book. It's great. In this one, though, we're going to the underworld, and you get to see Misha and Asar and their relationship develop as they go into the underworld, and suddenly they realise that maybe what they're trying to go after has actually led them to each other instead.
And in July, I finished the Wartime Chronicles series. So book number 4 came out. I feel like I talk about these every year, but this whole series has a special place in my heart because the first book in the series, Dear Mrs. Bird, was the first book that I got sent when I got my job here at Macmillan, and I loved it, and so it made me so excited to start. And so this was kind of bittersweet, this series ending. But basically, I really recommend this whole series. They're set during the Second World War, and they follow a young woman called Emmy Lake who wants to be a foreign correspondent. So she gets a job as a journalist, but the only job she can get is assisting the kind of agony aunt, Mrs. Bird, who answers letters that are sent into the newspaper. But Mrs. Bird is very strict and won't let her answer anything that's at all inappropriate. And inappropriate seems to cover kind of everything, any real problem that any woman might have. So that's where the first book starts, but over the course of 4 books, we've seen Emmy have things happen in her personal life. She gets married, she has a friendship falling apart, she has a friendship coming back together, but also in her professional life we see her working her way up the magazine. And yeah, it's a really heartwarming series. It's also very emotional. The books don't shy away from the realities of living in London during the Blitz, and you do lose some of your favourite characters, and it's very, very sad. But the books, they're all told in this kind of jolly wartime spirit kind of way, and so ultimately they're very uplifting even when they can be sad.
In August, I read Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher. This is a Snow White retelling, and in this we're not actually following Snow. So in this we're following a healer called Anya, and Anya is tasked with figuring out what has happened to the king's daughter, Snow, because she is showing symptoms of like being lethargic, and she's not wanting to do anything. She's pale all the time, and all these things are going on with her, and she can't figure out what is going on.
I absolutely love the cover on this.
Yeah, I know, it's so stunning as well. Like, it's a really gorgeous cover, and the more that we get into the book, the more that you realize that actually maybe it's not something that somebody is doing to Snow, but something. Yeah, it's really good. It's got a little bit of a creepy vibe to it, but overall it's just more like a cozy fantasy that has some high stakes, but also kind of not. It's a good in-between of a fantasy and a cozy fantasy, I would say.
In August, you know, I continued with my romance, and let me just ask you a question. Have you just ever been on your way to work and just thought, you know what, I don't want to go?
Yes.
And I would much rather go to my cousin's ranch in Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah. This book starts off in London, and just a series of things just go wrong. You know, the kind of London things.
London?
A bunch of things happen wrong on her way to work one morning, where, you know, like a bus almost runs her over, and then so she almost walks into a puddle, and then, you know, her boyfriend cheats on her. You know, that kind of London thing. that doesn't happen anywhere else, right? Yeah. Okay. So she also gets fired, which makes it a lot easier for her to say, F this, and I need a break, and I'm gonna go to my cousin. And right there, well, she finds out, as you know, most ranch seem to be in fiction, it's also in danger of being closed down, and she is a social media manager. And because she's a social media manager, she decides to use her talent for social and virality in order to give some virality and bring customers back to the ranch. The next book in the series, Reckless Vows, comes out next summer.
In September, I read Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood. This is the second book to Rewitch, which came out last autumn, and these are just such cozy books. I love them so much. The witch of this one is called Annie Wildwood, and she is a perfectionist, genuinely like the biggest people pleaser I have met other than myself, and I really related to her so much. And in this, she has to look after a troublesome teen who is also a witch, who's just come into her powers and is figuring them out. So of course it's not really smooth sailing for anyone involved, and they go to this little cabin in the middle of the woods to practice her magic, and of course there's a guy there, and he just happens to be a little bit rough and rugged, and we love him for that. And again, it's really cozy. It just makes you feel very safe and like homely and welcome and comforted, and that's what I always look for books around the September period. So this coming out was like the perfect time. And it's pink, and there's a cat, and the cat is called Karma. Karma is a cat purring in my lap. It loves me.
It was delightful.
I loved it.
I really enjoyed
it
was
as well.
I was reading it. I went home for a bit and I bought that book, and every time my mum walked past I went, I'm loving my book. She was like, okay. But it was that book.
I love the found family element that was in that as well.
Yeah, it's really great.
Stop stroking it. Alright, fine. In September, I read The Manual for Good Wives by Lola J. This is a historical fiction with dual narrative, and it's just full of love, generational trauma, second chance, and hope, and I just absolutely adored it. This is the second book by Lola J. Her first one was The Attic Child.
And then something really exciting that happened in September was we published our special edition of Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. It's one of my favorite books of all time anyway. But what we did for September is we partnered with an influencer, Sivan Reeds, who also loves this whole book, this whole series. And she basically helped us design a special edition that we knew the people of TikTok would love. And you can only buy this on TikTok Shop. So if you have somehow managed to resist downloading TikTok, now is your time to change that. You need to download it, you need to buy this book. It's so beautiful. It's a gorgeous special hardback. It's got a completely new cover design. It's got beautiful end papers, and it comes with a little postcard with a message from Sivan. And it also comes with a poster that you can stick on your wall, either the blue side or the pink side. But I haven't even mentioned the most important thing of all, and that is that this book has a ribbon. Do you know how rare it is? Do you know how expensive it is to print books with a ribbon? But don't they look so good? If you want this book with a ribbon, get it on TikTok Shop. There are only 1,000 of them that have been printed in the history of time. And so if you don't get one of the 1,000, when they're gone, they're gone.
In October, I had a delicious time because I read Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. Girl Dinner. This book is, I think it's really stands out from anything Olivia's done before because it's not
so good.
It's not fantasy. It's like feels very literary at points, but also very accessible in other points. And she really manages to balance like those two things very well. It's about a sorority of cannibals, except I always say it's like a slow burn cannibalism because it's something that you actually do build up to, but it's not the main point of the book. It's more about feminine rage and the patriarchy and how the system works against women and all of these different institutions. Specifically, this one is in a university because it's dual POV. We have Nina, who is a student, she's enrolled, she's joined the sorority, and then we have Sloane, she's just become a mother, she's dealing with motherhood and her husband really not being there for her while she's trying to continue her own studies, be a lecturer and get tenure. It's very stressful for her, and so having those two women at two different points in life but kind of finding common ground in this sorority it's like a great page turner, and I just really devoured this book, excuse the pun.
Nice. Yeah, reading this book feels like that thing where you sit down with a group of your girlfriends and you all drink too much wine and get really into talking about like the injustices of being a woman. It feels like that, but if you then actually were like, let's go and eat some
Let's do something. Yeah, you're like, let's do something about it.
Mine is also a food related one, but this is more like foodie food.
Well, yeah. Real food.
No men.
No men. So in October I read The Menu of Happiness, which is book number 3 in the series following the Kamigawa Food Detectives. These are really delightful books. So it's about a restaurant that you can go to. It's very hard to find. You have to follow this mysterious advert, and when you get there you come across a father-daughter duo of food detectives who will listen to your story. So you tell them about a specific memory that you have that involves a recipe that you've never been able to eat again. It might be a recipe that like a loved one made for you who's no longer alive, and you have no way of knowing what it was and how you can ever eat that delicious thing again. And the father-daughter duo will then go away and solve the mystery. They'll pick up on tiny little clues from your story and they will recreate exactly the meal that you made. But it's also about so much more than that. It's kind of a therapy session, because when you come back and eat the meal, they always then discover something about themselves, or they accept something that's happened, and it's just really heartwarming, beautiful series. So this is number 3, The Menu of Happiness.
That cover is really gorgeous.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
I would eat that.
Yeah. Like I told you before, you will hear this name again. In November, I read Silver and Smoke by Helen Schurer. This is the last book in the trilogy, The Ashes of Tesmar. And let me tell you, this ending was just absolutely perfect. And it's just the right amount of action and love and passion and betrayal and just everything, like I said earlier, everything you want in a romantasy. And I'm not even exaggerating. Literally one of my favorite series that I've read this year.
In November, we published Simply More by Cynthia Erivo, which of course was it was kind of perfect timing because Wicked had come out, Wicked 2, which we all cried over. It was fantastic. But this book is a collection of her memories, her thoughts on certain things. Like, it feels like a collection of essays and a memoir at the same time put together. It's a book for anyone who's ever been told they are too much. Cynthia kind of has the mantra and motto to be simply more. Like, even if somebody tells you you are too much, you can be simply more. And I think it's just the perfect book to really get your motivation back up and like find yourself again and realize that actually you're kind of perfect just as you are, which is very cringy, but it is very true as well.
Not cringy, it's true.
No, it's true. It is true. It is true. See, we're taught to think it's cringy and it's not. But it's a very short read. You can get into it really quickly.
I really love the audiobook of that. Her voice is so soothing.
It's
She
so
reads it herself.
soothing, and it feels like she's talking to you as well, which is a nice little added
She has a
bonus.
voice created by angels.
I just love Cynthia Erivo so much, and I really urge everyone to go read this book. So So those are the books that we read from January to November, and we picked our favourites every month, but we actually do have some anticipated reads we wanted to quickly run through with you for 2026.
What's the book that you're most excited for?
Daybreak. Daybreak by Autumn Woods is the sequel to Nightshade. I am so sad. I've been waiting for this book for so long. It's going to be a great conclusion. Everyone's just kind of gonna kick off, I think.
I don't want to wish the year away, but it comes out in July and I'm just so ready for it.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah.
You know what I don't have to wait for though?
What?
And now back to you.
Another great book.
That comes out in February, and I am just absolutely so excited to read more from B.K. Borison. It's about two weather meteorologists, and I am just absolutely ready for them to nerd out over weather.
What are you most excited for, Emma?
I have two. There's one that I'm most excited to read because I haven't read it yet, and then there's one that I've already read and loved and I'm most excited for the world to read. So the one that I'm excited to read is Unreliable Narrator by Araminta Hall, because she always writes really good thought-provoking thrillers. So they always are books that make me, they're really gripping, but they make me sit with like thinking about, what do I think about this situation? So I'm really excited to think about things. And I'm really excited for the world to read Almost Life by Kieran Mulwood Hargrave, because I completely fell in love with that book this year when I read an advanced copy of it. So it's a love story. It's kind of One Day-esque but sapphic, so it's about two women and they meet in Paris, and then we follow them throughout their lives and see the ways that their lives intersect. And it's really moving, and I loved it, and it's a book that I just think the whole world is going to fall in love with, so I can't wait to see everybody discover it.
I think that's going to be the next book that I read. I've got like a list, but that's like top, because I've heard so many good things.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think aside from Daybreak, I'm really excited for Olivia's new book, Dreamland, which feels like she's going back to her roots, because it's like a gothic fantasy, and I love it so much. And also Quiet Spells, which I did mention, comes out in January. I've actually had like an advanced copy of it for a long time, but I need to read it in January because that's when I read Modern Divination. So I have to read them like simultaneously. You get what I mean.
I'm really excited for the next book by Simone Satowni, Crash Into You. We haven't revealed the cover yet, so don't put it in there, Dave. But it's so gorgeous. Let me tell you right now, little spoiler, it's so pretty. It's gonna fit right in with the other two books. It's gorgeous, and I feel like it's a story that we've kind of been waiting for since Cross the Line, with a character and something that's happened in there. And I'm just so excited to finally get to it and read it, and I just already know I'm gonna love it. And then I'm also really excited for Unapologetic Love Story by Elle McNichol.
Yeah.
It's her adult debut, and I just think there's nothing that you should be apologetic about in love.
Those are our favourite books from the year, and also some books we're looking forward to next year. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!
Bye!